Hello, hello, and welcome to another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. Thank you for joining me. I'm doing the new releases today for April 7th, 2023, Easter weekend 2023. Just calling here to let you guys know what's coming out. So pick up the phone and watch this video. Okay. Yeah, so not a lot this week. There is stuff, though, definitely stuff. Easter traditionally is not as big of a release week as the weeks around it because people are off on holidays and whatnot. Anyway, and just a reminder that we're not open on Easter Sunday either. Not necessarily for religious reasons so much as the fact that there really aren't as many people out shopping because I think a lot of people just assume that you're closed. So it's like mini Christmas. Anyway, onward and upward. First thing up this week, get that out of the picture, is hello, Lincoln Park. It's kind of hard to maneuver this. Meteora, 20. It's the 20th anniversary of Meteora. How about that? You get a lot of tracks, the album, and then a whole bunch of demos, rarities, unreleased. Sorry about the glare. Yeah, 2003 to 2004 B-sides, demos. Pretty cool that they did this. It's not cheap because it's 4 records. So just letting you know. But that is actually out. Rest in peace, Chester Bennington. Also, rest in peace, Trugoy the Dove. Brilliant album. De La Soul is dead. Well, one of them is now, unfortunately. But yeah, so this is their sophomore masterpiece, as it says on the sticker. When this album came out, it was sort of somewhat controversial in a way because, oh gosh, look at all the songs and the track information. It seemed like Tommy Boy didn't really know exactly what to do with it because it wasn't as poppy, catchy, and easily marketable as the first record was. De La was sort of going through the like search to try and find what they were going to do next after having such a big hit. And it's kind of similar to, in a way, to what the Beastie Boys were going through when they were trying to get Paul's Boutique made and changing so much from that License to Ill record. So anyway, this is a great album, and I highly recommend it. The hits that people sort of might remember: Roller Skating Jam, named Saturdays, and Ring 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 Ha Ha Hey are listed on the sticker. I would also probably say like Oodles of O's. People might remember that. Talking about Hey Love. And there were some interesting like cameos on this. Q-Tip is on it. So, and that was sort of kind of a thing where, um, he was sort of turning up on a lot of records too. This was early 90s. I think that this was made on vinyl at the time, but probably not in big quantities because by then people had moved on to CDs so much. So, my advice is grab that while you can because probably like 3 Feet High and Rising, that album sold out in the first weekend, and here we are a month later waiting for restocks. So another great reissue, and not as old, is Anderson .Paak's Malibu. And people have been waiting for this. This is an RSD Essential white splatter on orange vinyl. And if you are not familiar with who Anderson is, he is half of the duo named Silk Sonic with Bruno Mars. So if you like that album, it's sort of a more hip-hoppy kind of record, but really good, sort of broke him through to the mainstream. The first track was called The Bird. Let's see, features a couple of guest appearances, Schoolboy Q and Talib Kweli. And then there's some other people on this too, but I don't know, some people have really been waiting for this. And I think that that's also a limited pressing because of the RSD connection there. This week we get a couple of Blue Note tone poets. It's about that time, and they've seemed a little more sporadic lately. This is Stanley Turrentine and Mr. Natural. Great album cover, typical on Blue Note. This is a gatefold sleeve, nice presentation, that hard kind of cardboard stock. And these records are always really well made. Kevin Gray did the remastering. And guest appearances from Lee Morgan, McCoy Tyner, Elvin Jones, Ray Barretto, and Bob Cranshaw. So really, really great title there. Also, another one that is I find very interesting that Blue Note is doing this. Chet Baker sings and plays with Bud Shank, Russ Freeman, and strings. This is not a gatefold. I'm assuming this was like under Pacific Jazz originally, because I don't know, it doesn't say, but I don't remember this being a Blue Note title. I don't think Chet was a Blue Note artist necessarily. As my friend put it yesterday, he said Chet Baker releases are so hard to keep up with because they're all called Chet Baker Sings, Chet Baker Plays. And so it does kind of like, now which one is it? So, but this actually features arrangements from Johnny Mandel, Marty Paich, and Frank Campo. And sort of one of his really renowned classic records. So nice to see that out again. All right, some new releases, new stuff. Ellie Goulding's new album, Higher Than Heaven. I believe this was supposed to come out in like February. It got delayed, probably because of making this package, which is a 140 gram Eco Mix color vinyl, sleeve made with recycled board, recycled and recyclable bag. So, yeah, I think it has 11 tracks. And yeah, she's kind of a pop singer-songwriter. Usually fairly quality stuff. So I know she would appreciate me giving her such kudos, right? Mudhoney, a new album. I mean, they've been making albums all along. This is over 35 years, something like that, into their career. And Plastic Eternity. And this is the limited edition first pressing on color vinyl, the loser edition. Someone at Sub Pop must have finally heard our pleas and said, why are you screwing the indie stores like this? They should have the rights to your color editions too. Thank you for listening to us, whoever you were. Please keep it up. It's important. And this has some really great song titles. Cry Me an Atmospheric River, Tom Herman's Hermits, Cascades of Crap, and Flush the Fascists. And, of course, Severed Dreams in the Sleeper Cell. So anyway, Mudhoney, gotta love them. Let's see, another record that some people I've been talking to, been waiting for, Nick Waterhouse, The Fooler. Well, originally he said this album is supposed to come out on April 1st, which was April Fool's Day. And he did put the CD out, but the vinyl got delayed a week. And I think that was part of the fact that he was playing The Fooler. So, cute idea. Anyway, sort of retro rock guitar kind of stuff. With a sort of a rootsy vibe too. Yeah, he's great. Check him out. I think it was recorded in Valdosta, Georgia, from what I just saw. Ruston Kelly's The Weakness. Singer-songwriter. This is Blue Jay vinyl, indie record store exclusive. He has songs called Michael Keaton and Holy Shit. So I know some people who are really into Ruston. That's great. And Manchester Orchestra, their new release called The Valley of Vision, indie record store exclusive, iridescent blue vinyl. Manchester Orchestra. I can't even really show you the back. It's so dark you can't read it. But anyway, they've been around for a long time. Can I say it? Joey Badass. 2000, his new album, featuring the instant classics Show Me and Head High. So hip-hop guy. Let's see. Features Jid, Chris Brown, and Diddy. So we're going sort of old school on that. But anyway, there's your new Joey Badass. A jazz artist, Brandy Younger. I really want to check this out. This is called Brand New Life, and it shows her with a harp. So I'm assuming, harpist. But interesting, it's kind of a hip hop harp jazz record, I think. Features guest appearances from Moo Fresh, Pete Rock, Michelle Indegocello, and Ninth Wonder. So if you like your rap jazz or whatever, that might be for you. Really like this band a lot. They're getting some traction now. The Beths. This album has already been out, but this is a special pressing. This is Expert in a Dying Field on bone color vinyl. I believe they're from New Zealand. If not, it's Australia. I could be wrong on it's one of the two. And they sort of are like, if you like things like Courtney Barnett, it's a little bit like that, maybe a little more like melodic, I suppose. I don't know how to sort of like, compare the two, but in the same sort of ballpark anyway. But yeah, Expert in a Dying Field, check them out. If you like the band Swans and Michael Gira, there was a time there when they sort of went on hiatus, changed their name to Angels of Light, and did a couple of records, maybe more than a couple, but the ones that they just reissued, Angels of Light, We Are Him. Love this album cover. It's so cute yet interesting and weird. So there's We Are Him. And then the other one that they reissued are the Angels of Light Sing Other People. And this one is from 2009. This one's from 2007. So yeah, it's Michael Gira. Bill Rieflin is on both of them. So if you have Ministry Love or something like that. Let's see. Steven Wilson keeps reissuing some older records. Insurgentes. This was his debut solo album after kind of exiting Porcupine Tree, and this has been out of print for a while. So it's good to see that back. He also just reissued The Raven Refused to Sing. Or Raven Who Refused to Sing. That Refused to Sing. One of those words. Anyway. Sorry, there's a lot to remember. One of my favorite bands from New Zealand, The Veils. And this is, interestingly, this is not the new record, although it is new. This is Nux Vomica. And you can see sort of the original album cover in the center there. But basically, Nux Vomica was probably my favorite Veils album to this point. And if you like sort of Nick Cave kind of stuff, you really should check that out. This is interesting because this features the original, previously unreleased mixes by producer Nick Launay, who did work on the album, and then for some reason, someone else did the mixing. They thought it was maybe not commercial enough or something. But he worked with Public Image, Nick Cave, Kate Bush. I remember seeing his name on a lot of In Excess kind of things, I think. Maybe, or no, maybe it was, there was a band called Big Pig, I know, that had an album out, if you remember them, that I think he worked on. He really likes heavy percussion on a lot of his records. Anyway, so, but this is the original mix of it, so I'm kind of interested to hear what they came up with. It's on Bada Bing Records as that label. The Veils did put out a new album. Finn Andrews is the leader of that. His dad is Barry Andrews of Shriekback, who started out in XTC with Andy Partridge on their first 3 or 4 albums. And you might want to check out the new Veils album too. I think I showed it in one of the recent videos, but it's quite good. Probably his best since the original of Nux Vomica. Donald Byrd, Street Lady. Well, I think a lot of people love this album. It's iconic. This is on Music on Vinyl. Did this, and he was a Blue Note artist, and then went on to do other great work too. But Street Lady back on vinyl. This is music on vinyl pressing. Couple other music on vinyl pressings that came out. Jeff Beck with Bogart and is it Appice or a piece? I never quite figured that out. I'm not really all major into Jeff Beck, but I mean, if it's your thing, that's fine. 50th anniversary on red vinyl, translucent red. Music on vinyl has been doing such great work lately that I'm sure that this sounds great. So if you like this album, you might want to pick that up because I think they're somewhat limited. I think it's 1,500. Same with this X Under the Big Black Sun on a turquoise color vinyl. This is limited to 1,500 also, and X is still going strong. They've gone on hiatus a few times, but done some amazing work over the years. And 40 years maybe. You know, I think back, I was watching something last night where someone was playing a Susie and the Banshees album from 1982. And all I could think is that's 40 years ago. And what was 40 years before that? 1942, when America was like getting into World War II. You know, I mean, 40 years, it's a big gap. And then you think 40 years before that, well, that's 80 years ago. I'm not trying to make people feel old because kids are watching this, but you know, I think it's great that kids are listening to stuff from like the 80s and think like, boy, that's really old. And then I go thinking, well, you know, how old is stuff from the late 60s then? You know, it's like, I mean, over 50 years old. I digress. New record from Dred Zeppelin. Wow. It's on a cool splatter color vinyl. I think if you sort of remember the reggae versions they did on their album Unleaded in 1990, but this has a Whole Lot of Love, Kashmir, Rock and Roll Lemon Song, Immigrant Song, Stairway to Heaven, a bunch of other songs. So if you like your Led Zeppelin done reggae style, it's probably a cool thing to check out. Ohio Players live 1977 on double blue color vinyl. It's a double record. Golden Lane Records. I think Cleopatra does these. I'm not sure. But double record. And if you notice that record 2, all it is Fire Part 1 and Fire Part 2. So you're probably getting, I'd say, maybe a half an hour to 40 minutes of Fire, which is probably awesome. Like a funk workout for the ages. You know, I start watching some of like Prince's concerts where he's just doing the same song for a half an hour. You know, it probably came out of stuff like this. But they also have here Love Roller Coaster, Sweet Sticky Thing, and I Want to Be Free. All right. And last record I'm showing of new releases, Mamas and the Papas, self-titled. This is on Sundazed Records. This was a very popular record for them and hard to find copies that aren't beat up. So that's kind of a nice reissue of that. Some CDs I wanted to show that are new. Susanna Hoff's brand new album called The Deep End. This is cover songs mainly, I believe. I see Under My Thumb, Black Coffee in Bed, When the Party's Over, You Don't Own Me, Only You. So if you like Susanna, I think she's a great song interpreter, and as we heard with her work with Matthew Sweet. Let's see, Devin Gilfillian is another one I would sort of say check out. He's on Fantasy Records. This might be his second album on Fantasy, sort of retro soul, kind of a mix of styles, but he's pretty cool. Ralph Towner at First Light. Been recording for ECM Records for as long as I can remember. He does do Danny Boy here. This is saying it's considered classical guitar. Usually his stuff is a little more jazz, but it looks like solo acoustic is the name of the game there. Another jazz issue. I need to check this guy out too. Walter Smith III. It's on Blue Note Records, and it's called Return to Casual. And this looks like it's fairly like regular sort of jazz combo stuff. It's got him on tenor sax and other instruments, piano, guitar, bass, drums, a little Fender Rhodes, and trumpet. So sort of traditional. And thankfully, Madness, One Step Beyond, love this album. Great ska classic, and important to British rock pop stuff, late 70s. I believe this is the one produced by Elvis Costello too, if I'm not mistaken, but or one of the ones. I don't know if he did this or not. It's hard to remember. He worked with so many of them, but anyway, this has One Step Beyond, My Girl, and Night Boat to Cairo. Those three opening songs. Also, The Prince. This has been released before, I think, as double CD on import labels. This is the first time I remember it on an American BMG put this out. And it's a double CD, so you're getting 18 bonus tracks, and it's actually a pretty reasonable price at $15. Those imports were in the $20-$25 range. So, and last CD I'm going to show, Kiss off the Soundboard Live. This is actually from Poughkeepsie, New York, 1984. It's the only known live recording that I've heard about from Mark St. John being in the band. He was only present on their Animalize album. And so this is very little of what he was able to participate with. Apparently he had some sort of like arthritis issue at the time or something, and did not get along with Paul Stanley. He had a lot of his parts supposedly overdubbed. I mean, who knows? And died several years ago, sort of under mysterious circumstances. So anyway, you might want to check that out if you're a Kiss fan. I think that is available on vinyl, and we'll probably have that on the way here soon. Yeah, so the last thing I want to show you, y'all know that Record Store Day is coming up like 2 weeks from this Saturday, right? April 22nd, 8 o'clock in the morning. I haven't said it enough. Probably I've said it too much. Isn't that an REM song? Oh no, I've said too much. I haven't said it all. Anyway, so I digress. And yeah, so all of my stuff is being shipped now. So I will be showing those things off and on in the videos in the next couple weeks. There'll probably be extra videos of that stuff because it's just too much to not do that. On top of like a Metallica album coming out next week, right? Among other things. But I will show, I did sort of get a couple of these already. The 3-inch record players that are done by Deer Park for Doors. They're Doors themed 3-inch record players. These things are really cool. They're more like kind of like conversation pieces, but they do work. If you bought one of these that was not themed and you just I want a 3-inch record player, they usually run about $60-$70. This is about $140, mainly because of the branding of the Doors. I'm sure to get all of these pictures on these sides and then to brand the record player with a Doors theme. The other thing that's coming out is there are 3 Doors 3-inch records. I won't have a ton of these because I don't know how they're going to sell, but I'll have a few. Doors, Love Her Madly, which is kind of cute. Now, this is like, they did the Czarface ones last time. They were really small. They kind of make the package a little taller, so you can see them. This one is Break On Through to the Other Side. I guess I should hold it like that since that's the picture, right? And then the third one is Hello, I Love You. So anyway, so I'm getting the sense that Record Store Day is definitely looming. It's around the corner. I've ordered more stuff than I've ever ordered for Record Store Day. So please get out and support us if you can, or find a way to do it, even if it's online through Discogs or whatever, however you get records. All that stuff will be posted on Discogs, whatever's remaining, on the day following. We're not allowed to put it up until 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. So the 23rd, you'll see those things online that are not, that are still remaining. So, all right. I think that pretty much covers everything I had to say about today. Thank you for joining me for another edition of these weekly updates. Next week, like I said, Metallica comes out. We have 2 live Neil Young records. David Bowie's Aladdin Sane reissue. New albums from Feist, Natalie Merchant. Caroline Polachek's albums finally being released physically. Flaming Lips Yoshimi box set on vinyl, because you can see the CD's already out. Live records from Joe Bonamassa, Florence and the Machine, and a new album from the L. Michaels Affair and Black Thought. Black Thought of The Roots. If you saw earlier this year, last year, the album he did with Danger Mouse called Cheat Codes, that was probably one of the most popular records of the last 6 months. It's done very well, and it's a good album. So, on top of Temples, Overkill, there's a whole bunch of stuff. They want to get it all out before Record Store Day as much as possible, so that when you're in the store, that you might pick up something other than just the Record Store Day stuff, which is greatly appreciated. Also, we will probably be running some kind of sale. I don't know. It's I'm still kind of hammering that out, and it is our 10th anniversary next week. There are some new t-shirts being designed, and they're not going to be ready in time for Record Store Day, unfortunately, but we'll let you know when all that stuff sort of appears, and sort of freshen up this logo a little bit. So thank you all so much, and have a wonderful Easter weekend. And if you can get out and shop in the next couple of days, that's great. We appreciate that. But like I said, we will be closed Sunday. So, all right. Be well. Be safe. See you next week. All right. In this spot. Okay. Take care. Peace.